The missing link for a lot of singers trying to improve their voice is how to turn vocal exercises into real songs. I mean, I bet you want to sing Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Creedence Clearwater songs. Your goal was never to practice lip trills or get really great at lip trills, but that's what's happened. You're getting really great at the exercises. It's not translating into songs. I'm going to show you exactly how to turn any vocal exercise into the songs you've always wanted to sing. My name is Keegan, this is Foundation Vocal Method. Stick around to the end of this video, I've got an incredible free gift to share with you. You could take any vocal exercise, right? But how does that translate into, scream and swear to bare feet to the floor? It's not the same thing, right? It ain't like that anymore. What's the missing link between these two types of singing, the exercise and the song? I call this the vocal matrix. All great singers are tapping into a system of choices, techniques, reflexes, and acoustics, which allow them to sing with freedom, then allowing them to make the style choices that we all love. We take a handful of my favorite singers: John Fogerty, CCR, Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, 90s Bon Jovi, Steven Tyler, Aerosmith, Paul Rodgers from Free and Bad Company, Lane Staley, Alice in Chains. Now, these are all pretty different singers, right? They're not, John Fogerty doesn't sing like Chris Cornell. Paul Rodgers doesn't sing like Steven Tyler. Lane Staley doesn't sing like 90s Bon Jovi, right? These are all pretty different singers. They're all doing something different, right? If you strip back the extrinsic style choices and all the cool stuff that we love about these singers, the fundamental matrix, which makes their voices function, is exactly the same. Instead of looking at the differences, all the cool different stuff that these guys are doing that we love, we actually look at what connects these singers. The voice functions in a defined way. Now, the vocal matrix starts with the involuntary systems of the voice. Your voice is involuntary. The mistake that most people make when they're learning to sing, or they decide they're never going to be a good singer, is putting time into exercises expecting that one day you're going to be strong enough to sing, like, I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know. All right, are those high notes killing me? Am I strong? Do I have a big muscular neck? No, because it's not about strength. You're looking at the physicality of the voice without realizing that it's largely involuntary. It's largely a reflex, and it's largely about acoustics. So when we talk about the involuntary systems of the voice, the web that ties the vocal matrix together is your central nervous system. And if this is starting to get a little bit heavy for you, it should actually be sending off fireworks in your head. Oh my God, this is why I've been practicing these exercises and not getting any better, right? The central nervous system blacks out impertinent systems in any given situation, right? If you're being chased by a lion, there's no reason to sing beautiful, effortless high notes. You're going to shout and run and scream, and you're going to have adrenaline and strength, right? You might feel that when you jump up in stage, right? You do vocal exercises, you practice, you get on stage and you have this surge of adrenaline, and you can't hit the high notes. You can't hit them the way you were hitting them 20 minutes ago in your practice, in your warm-up, right? In rehearsal 2 weeks earlier. Now I can't hit them. That is the invisible system which controls the involuntary parts of your voice. You're focusing on it physically, like, moving your fingers. This is a voluntary system. The CT muscle can't be flexed. Your left vocal fold can't be flexed. The epiglottis can't be flexed. These are involuntary systems, right? So your outlook and your attitude and the way you prepare for things either allows you to sing with freedom in an effortless way, or it puts an absolute ceiling and roadblock in your way, right? So when we take a vocal exercise, right? Right, just insert your favorite vocal exercise. I'm going to give you a couple of things to try and a couple of sounds to try out. So if you're somewhere where you can't practice, you're on the train on the way home from work and you can't try these out right now, make sure you hit the subscribe button and add this to the watch later list. Now, if we take that vocal exercise, right? right? I mean, it's not a rock sound, it's not a cool sound, but those high notes are totally easy, right? Now, if we try and sing the song, right? I wanna know, why am I in falsetto, right? That's an A4, right? Say we pick a really obvious vowel, like an A vowel, right? And I go, why could I sing the song, a minute ago, and now I can't sing the song? This is actually the central nervous system. It's not a vocal technique. It's not a sound. It's not that my voice has a break and a crack. My central nervous system turned my voice off. And the reason that happened, and you can learn this from the exercise, and this is where I learned this, when we're doing that trill there, or again, insert your favorite exercise. If you're singing through a straw, spending 10 hours a day doing that, when I'm going through those trills there, right? My diaphragm's down. I feel my ribs are out, and my stomach's, I'm not going, because we get back pressure. Now, the second I say back pressure, your brain just shut off and you think I'm talking about vocal fold closure because you've seen other YouTube videos. We're not talking about the same thing. This is a different conversation. This is the vocal matrix, right? We get back pressure on the diaphragm. So basically the diaphragm can't push that air up because there's a block in the way. So the diaphragm stays down. And what this does is it actually changes the pitching mechanism of the voice. When the diaphragm's down, it triggers the vagus nerve and the superior laryngeal nerve, and it sends a signal to the larynx to turn on the CT muscle, which tensions the voice to pitch, right? So when my diaphragm comes up, and I'm trying to go, and I pull in my diaphragm because shit, that's a high note, right? The vocal folds actually separate into falsetto because I don't have enough pressure to make them vibrate the speed I'm asking for, so it overcompensates. Now, if I take what I learned in that exercise and I actually put it into the song, right? I wanna know, my diaphragm's down. Yeah, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, my diaphragm's down, putting my body in a parasympathetic state, triggering the CT muscle and allowing me to tension the vocal folds to pitch. This is the physical aspect of the voice that you've been trying to manhandle. When you're pushing into things or you're trying to do compression or hold your breath, all this stuff that you don't need to do, you're actually looking for how to control the involuntary systems of the voice with the central nervous system. And it really starts with the diaphragm. Number 2, tonal reflex. You might have noticed this from your favorite singers. They have a very specific sound that they go for in very specific ranges of the voice, right? So say I pick Paul Rodgers, right? You know this riff. There she stood in the street, smiling from her head to her feet. Right? The actual tone I'm going for. There she stood, it's kinda sad in the street, smiling from her, it's sad. This sad sound does two things. If there was to be a lion or a kangaroo kick through my studio door right now, ready to fight me, do you think I'd sit here making sad sounds trying to plead with the kangaroo or the lion? No, I'm going to shout or get the hell out of here, right? There's no reason to pitch the voice with tension, right? So basically the central nervous system is diverting all of these systems that we need to sing high notes effortlessly to adrenaline and strength and power and speed, and all this stuff that you don't need when you're singing, right? So number 1, going for this cry tone, kind of confuses the central nervous system. It's like, okay, we're not reacting to a threat here. Okay, we must be in a parasympathetic state. We're in a receptive state, not a reactive state, right? Now, if this seems like a lot, there should be a light bulb going off in your head. Man, this is why I've put hours into these vocal exercises and I've never gotten anything out of it. There's an invisible matrix which is running in the background which controls these involuntary systems in the voice. Once you tap into it, the sky is the limit for what you can do as a singer and what you can work towards, right? Getting yourself on that path towards becoming a singer that, you've always known is in there, but you've never been able to get it to come out, right? Number 2, this slight cry sound tilts the larynx. That's how the body gets this sound. It's a primitive emotion reflex. So our voices in a neutral state obviously don't make all of the sounds that we need to make without language to communicate in a primitive sense. We communicate on a frequency level, whether you realize it or not. So the voice has to go into different physical setups to get different things. And singing is exactly the same. We need the voice to do different things that don't exist in a neutral state. So this cry sound that we're going for, right? It's really sad, yeah! This is tilting the larynx and physically tensioning the vocal folds. In tandem with that vocal matrix, those involuntary systems, this is the key to hitting high notes, right? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Right? You can tap into this and you can sing higher stuff than you've ever imagined possible, right? Right, connected as one in full voice, right? The crazy Chris Cornell stuff, the high, John Fogerty stuff. Again, it's just the vocal matrix. Finally, we have acoustics, right? So we have our involuntary our involuntary systems, our central nervous system. We've got our tonal reflexes. Each register of the voice needs different tones. And to create different tones, we need to go for different tones. We need to go for different sounds, right? That's our tonal reflex. Finally, acoustics. This can be a tricky concept to get your head around initially, but once you understand this, you will see the vocal matrix in 3D, and you're going to be able to sing anything, right? You're going to be able to map out anything you want to sing and pretty much get it right first go, right? Your vowels are tuned to specific notes, right? So what is a vowel? A vowel is a frequency. It's actually a group of frequencies, but let's just call it a frequency for our purposes right now. It's a frequency. Now, what's your pitch? The note you're singing. Hang on, that's also a frequency. What creates the pitch? Okay, vibration of the vocal folds. Hang on, what creates the frequency of the vowel? Vibration of the vocal folds. You can see how there's a conflict of interest here, right? Now, different frequencies can live in harmony together, or they can be dissonant together, and you can get all kinds of weird reflexes and pushing and breaking and cracking in your voice, right? Now, if I'm singing, so we do that from the G there, right? And I sing the obvious vowel. If my vowel is tuned here, you get that traditional definition of chest voice, right? Because my pitch is below my vowel. If I go up, I can't sustain this disparity between the vowel and the pitch. So then I go above the vowel. And singing a pitch above the frequency of the vowel is the traditional definition of head voice. When we match our pitch and our vowel, this is the contemporary different definition of mixed voice. Mixed voice is quite literally a vowel. It's a set of vowels. When people give you funny sounds or feelings to go for, it's actually changing the vocal tract space and allowing you to match the frequency of your pitch to your vowel. You might not realize it, they might not realize it, but that's what's happening on an acoustic level and on an anatomical level as well, right? So instead of trying to push up our sounds, right? Hey, right? We need to adjust the structure of our vowel to a more appropriate frequency, right? You can hear what I'm doing there, right? You can hear that just opened up this whole other place for resonance and this whole other type of resonance. So when you're singing words, when your favorite singers are singing words, they're not singing the words in the way that you think that they're singing them in a lot of cases. If you really, really listen, you really focus on it, people are singing different sounds, but presenting them to you as the speech quality of the word. This is the acoustic element that most people neglect when they're learning to sing, when they're doing vocal exercises, right? The same thing's happening with the trill. The trill is tuned at a specific frequency, and my pitch is going around that, and I'm altering the structural sound of that trill. And this one is really intuitive because we don't walk around speaking. That's not how we say hello, right? But if you say the word hey, how many times this week have you said the word hey? Hundreds, thousands. So you've got muscle memory and neural connection around that sound, and your brain is forcing you to pronounce the sound. Hey! You need to get away from it and go for the right acoustic sound. There's 3 systems that make up the vocal matrix. And this is the vocal matrix that every single spectacular singer you've ever heard in your life is using on the ground level and then making style choices and taking their voice to the next level, right? If you get this right and you can tap into this, yes, this will instantly make you sing better. It won't make you the finished product, but it will make you sing better. But it's also going to get you on that path towards becoming the singer that you've always wanted to become, right? Involuntary innervation. So our central nervous system, these involuntary systems like the CT muscle, Once you understand there's an invisible process going on in the background, and a lot of the things that you're doing and a lot of the things you're thinking are affecting your body's ability to function properly. Number 2, reflex. The voice is a reflex, right? Why do you shout when you're angry? Why do you sound sad when you're sad, man? This is a reflex, and it's a two-way street. You can use these tones to get the voice set up in different ways. And finally, acoustics. You need to get the formants of your vowels right. The vocal folds vibrate and create your fundamental vibration and all of your harmonics, and they need to complement each other. Once you get that conflict of interest between the vowel you're asking for and the pitch, and you're trying to keep it in full voice, this is why your voice is breaking, cracking, and this is why you can't connect vocal exercises to real songs. 3 things I want you to try. The first thing we're going to do is a lip trill, right? Right, if you find that a bit higher, you can do the 2 octaves. And land there in the center. Then we're going to take an A vowel, like the word lay, L-A-Y, right? Don't pronounce it, it's just lay. I'm really singing the central sound there, not lay, lay. And what I'm going to do is keep the diaphragm down. Instead of going lay, pulling in, right? Like I'm being kicked in the stomach by a kangaroo. I'm going to actively keep the ribs out and belly down. And at the same time, I'm going to add in my sad sound. You'll hear this. Lay, right? Lay, right? That top note. It's sad, yeah. Diaphragm down with our very subtle sad sound, right? Finally, we're going to change our vowel. Instead of singing A, we're going to make it E. It's like way and west. It's horizontal. Lay. So when you hear me doing that, the Lane Staley thing, right? It ain't like that anymore. Right? It. Not hey, hey. I can't hit that pitch. It's too high for me, right? It ain't like that anymore. Same thing as the Fogerty song, right? I wanna know. Right? I'm not singing I. Right? It's just too high for me. This stuff's all way too high for me, right? You got to get that involuntary system running. You've got to get that right tonal reflex. And you got to get those acoustics and get your vowels right? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yeah! Right? This is all down to the involuntary systems, the reflex, and the acoustics of the voice. Tell me, let me know in the comments down below, are you focusing on the central nervous system? Are you focusing on tonal reflex? And are you focusing on acoustics and formants? I'd love to hear what you're working towards, right? This is how you connect vocal exercises to real songs. Instead of doing the exercise expecting to get stronger, do the exercise and see what's different in the exercise to the songs that you're singing. And it's gonna give you that red flag for, shit, this is where I'm going wrong, right? If the diaphragm comes up on the song where it was down in the exercise, keep your diaphragm down. If you notice the tone of the exercise, the exercise changed the tone of your voice, but it doesn't in the song and you go shouty, go for the tone of the exercise, right? If you notice that the space and the acoustics and the resonance is different in the exercise, and you go to the song and it's not the same thing, go for the same thing. And you'll start to notice that exercises and songs are exactly the same thing when you tap into the vocal matrix. Over the past 15 years, I've helped hundreds of singers all around the world hit bigger, better, higher, stronger notes than they ever imagined possible using this same vocal matrix system. Through that process, I've been able to identify 12 consistent vocal progress killers in singers that aren't naturals by default. If you're anything like me, and the first time you stepped up to the microphone, it was awful. You took some lessons, you bought some courses, maybe you've been on the YouTube loop, trying this tip, that tip, this drill, this exercise, this sound, but you're just struggling to gain traction on where to go to next. It's like there's a missing piece of the puzzle in your voice, right? You can't get your head above water as a singer, no matter how much practice and how much time and effort you put into this. It's likely that you're struggling with one or many of these 12 vocal progress killers. I've put together a free short course for you called the 12 Vocal Progress Killers. There's 12 exclusive training videos with me. They're not available on YouTube. They're not available on the website otherwise. All you got to do is hit this link right here. It's absolutely free. Sign up for the free short course, 12 Vocal Progress Killers, and it'll come out to your email along with some other practice and tips and guides on how to take your singing to the next level. I'm Keegan from Foundation Vocal Method. Hit this link here to join me for the free short course, 12 Vocal Progress Killers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so that you see more vocal training content like this. We're going to talk soon.